Okay, so evidently that first video I made, I accidentally stopped it and it's in the process of batching. So this is part 2 of that. Okay, so we left off here. It's a reference point for the anchor link. And it uses the opening anchor tag, and it's used to link another URL or file. So an example could be, A for anchor tag, href equals, and now you hear my dogs barking. So we would go to this URL, for example. So let's go ahead and do a little practice. What I want you to do for the assignment is I want you to handwrite the code, just the lines of code for our practice. And the reason for the handwrite is because, as you've heard me say before several times, take handwritten notes. You remember and you understand things so much better. It encodes so much better in your brain and your understanding when you handwrite it. So that's the assignment for one of the assignments is to handwrite the lines of code for the things that we're going to be doing. But for our purposes, let's go ahead and I'm going to use, for this demonstration purpose, I'm going to use VS Code and I'm going to save as. I have too many files. And I'm going to name this index.html. Like I said earlier, it's got to be a .html. And hit save. And so one of the nice things, we're going to start looking at some of the tools of an IDE and the little perks of it. And one of those perks is that it automatically completes things for you. So remember the very first line that we're supposed to type is doc type HTML to indicate. So let me kind of do this a little bit. That's not what I want. Okay, so remember this has to be written on the very first line. Okay, so what you can do with VS Code, we can actually type it in, like this. That works just fine as well. Okay, or we can hit Shift and the exclamation point, which is the number 1, and it'll automatically do all of that for us. So what else it also does, you'll notice, some things we haven't gone over yet, but it's kind of considered best practices, but it's not really the focus of this particular lesson. It does on line 1, doc type HTML. It does HTML and it actually does the language, which is the best practice thing, indicate it's going to be English. Okay. Then we have the head. There's the opening head and then the closing head. And then there's the body, opening body, closing body. And then we close the HTML for this right here. My dogs are scratching, so I'm going to pause this. Okay, I'm back and back into VS Code. So, okay, so doc type was line 1. And so look at the title. We see right now the title says document. And if I go to so what I did is I went to the folder where I saved the file and give it a second. I didn't save it yet. So one thing that you can see on VS Code, if you don't save it yet, it has that little white dot. I want to hit Control S to save. Control S to save. And it's not a white dot anymore. So there's no changes that need to be saved. So now I save it or refresh it. And you can see that the title in the tab, it says document, which is what's right here. And we can name it. One of the projects that we'll be working on for this class is kind of redoing the Honking College bookstore. which is, is more of an apparel and stuff store and less of a bookstore with us doing online books. Alaska, stop it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and rename this. Maybe. Okay, there it goes. Hocking College Book Store. And do Alt Tab will take me to another, I can switch to a different screen. And if I hit refresh right here, it says Hocking College Bookstore. And if you look, I got a bit of a typo there, because you shouldn't see all of this stuff. So what did I do? Oh, looks like I took out an E in title. Now refresh it, and it just says Hocking College Bookstore, which is what we want. So let's kind of go over this URL, so to speak here, which is basically our directory. And that's kind of all the internet is. It's a big old directory file. Well, if you'll be able to see, I'm in my C drive in a folder called users, in a folder called PinwellT, which is my Hocking College username, in a folder of desktop, and in a folder called HTML CSS2. And this particular file is named index.html. So you can see these are some of the components that we've already discussed so far: the doc type HTML, the closing HTML, the opening head and the closing head, opening body and closing body. So what we were going to do anyways. So let's play with an example of an href. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick. We're not going to put anything else in it right now. That's later. But opening tag, the letter A, and we need the href equals. So let's just go to the Hocking College webpage. Copy that, Control C if you're on a PC, and hit Control V. And you put quotes around it, double quotes. And then we need to actually put something in between this and this tag right here. So I'll show you what happens if we don't put anything in there. So I went ahead and saved it. And if I refresh it, we don't see anything. We see quotes. Because evidently, yeah. I see quotes right there. Or that's because I had a typo in it. Now refresh it, we see nothing. If we look on their page source, which to do that, this is where, like I said, I kind of forget to explain things. Right click, view page source, or you can hit Control U if you can remember that shortcut. I don't. View page source, and you can see everything that was in VS Code. All of this is in here. Same thing as what was in VS Code right here. There's 13 lines. There's 13 lines. So we have the code in there, but the browser doesn't read what to display. It's in there, but the browser doesn't see it because right now it's hidden, so to speak, under the link tag, the anchor tag. So let's go ahead and add something in there so we know, so with the browser can display what we want it to display and to make people know to click on that link. So let's type in Hocking College. And so we have our anchor tag. We have our href. We have the link that it's going to go to when somebody clicks on this. So you'll see that has a closing caret right there. So I did something. You can see it has that closing caret, which we can call it whatever you want. The greater than the greater than symbol, or the closing caret. You'll hear me call it different things. And people are going to be able to see this as a link And then you have the closing anchor tag for this right here. Okay. So let's hit save it. It's got the white dot, so I didn't save it. And let's go ahead and click on, refresh. So now we see Hocking College, and if we click on it, it takes us to hocking.edu. Okay, so it's working. So one of the things just to be aware of, cybersecurity is always a big topic. Be know what you're clicking on. So say for example, let's find another one website. Ohio University. I should know what that is. I think it's ohio.edu. High speed internet. Pauses. Okay, so it finally worked. Ohio.edu, copying that. And going back into here. And I'm going to do another anchor tag. Href equals. I'm also going to put Hocking College. Okay. So if I was somebody who had malicious intent or, prankster, or whatever the reason is, there could be harm, just for some good humor or for somebody who's trying to do something bad. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to go back to the web page that we're working on, which is this, and refresh it. You see two Hocking colleges. Okay. They're side by side as opposed to this being on top of each other. That's something we'll discuss later. But you see two Hocking colleges, right? So this Hocking college goes to hocking.edu, which is what we want. But and somebody could assume, not knowing what we know, that, hey, this will take me to Hocking College too. But if you click on it, it doesn't. It goes to ohio.edu. And that's because that's where we told the browser to take it. Two dogs don't like each other. Anyways, so you can check, also check if you right click, and right now we have it. Back up a little bit. Right now we have it. Whenever you click on either one of these links, it opens up in the same page. Like, it doesn't open up a new page, because you'll notice when I click on this, it goes to, this one's going to ohio.edu. The index, let's close that. Okay. The index page, or the Hocking College page that we're working on, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. Is gone. And so we have to hit back to go back to our page that not that one, this one. Go back to this. Get rid of this. But one of the things that we'll be doing later on is how to create a web page into a new tab. But for best practices, what a lot of people do and just practice this is, if they're not wholly comfortable with the website that they're on, they're not sure what link's going to take them, you can right click on the link, and this is Chrome, open link in a new tab. Okay. And it'll just open up in a new tab. And there's other things you can do as well. Right click. You can copy the link address, open up Notepad, and paste it in there if you want, just to confirm where it's going to take you. Other things that you can do is inspect, which opens up our dev tools, which we're not going to focus on right now, but you can actually see the content of our web page that we're working on right now as well. You can see this one goes to hocking.edu, and this one goes to ohio.edu. You'll note that this doc type right here is not in all caps, which is fine. It's not case sensitive. I think more often than not, you will see this on all caps, like we have it here. That's just as a personal preference. And like I said, I think it's probably more widely known as that as opposed to lowercase, but either way is fine. Okay, so we just went over a review of the links and how links work. Comments are not read by the browser and do not appear on the web page. And the way you can make a comment is by the less than symbol, exclamation point, two dashes, and you would put your comment in the middle. Then you would close it with two dashes and a greater than symbol. So let's go ahead and try that here. And here's another little trick that, it's nice with IDEs or VS Code. Other IDEs may be different. You can hit Control and then the /, which is you should know where the / is. That's where all the closing tags are. But if you're not familiar with it, it's right underneath the question mark. And so you'll see that this appears. It is the less than symbol, the exclamation point, two dashes, and then it has an empty spot. And then there's two dashes and a greater than symbol. And it's green, which is for VS Code, is the indicator that it's a comment. Again, this could be different for different IDEs or text editors. So we're just going to type in this is a comment. And comments are meant to be used just as reminders or tips or anything else of that nature for any other developers. You may go to your code. If you're working in a team or just something years down the road, they need to see what you were doing. This may be for that purpose, or maybe just for yourself. A couple of days from now, you're trying to work on something. You have no idea what you're doing. You don't remember what you were doing and why you did it that way. This could be a reminder for yourself as well. So for what I can do here is, going to line 11, which you can tell right here is line 11. I'm going to make a comment and want to just do the shortcut, which is Control / and that kind of deal. Okay, well, here's something that you can do. If you want to make a line of comment, you can just put your cursor on the line that you want, and it automatically comments it out, which is not what I was trying to do. So to undo that, you can hit Control / again, and it uncomments it. So that's, oh shoot, hit the wrong thing. So what I was trying to do, I'll go ahead and go to line 10, hit enter, and on line 11, I'm now going to write with the shortcut to make this a comment. This code is to show how the anchor tags define where a page goes. Okay. So me adding this white space, like double spacing and things of that nature, it does nothing for the browser whenever it's looking at it. Let's go here. Let's go ahead and close this out. And it does nothing. The extra white space, the only purpose of that is for my readability, just because it's easier for me to read, and that's my personal preference. Everybody can be different on that regards, but I think this was probably fairly familiar. This is probably fairly what most people do, add spaces and stuff like that. Okay, let's go back to here. So what I want you to do is, one of the assignments, again, it's handwritten, is to do a practice area for an attribute. So an attribute is content that can be added to the opening tag of an element. It can be used in several different ways. There are two parts to it. We didn't really discuss that. This isn't meant to be a review. So this might be, even though it's the first assignment, this first part of it might be the last thing you do, because it'll make more sense if you need reminders when you go further down. Okay. So an attribute is content that's to be added to the opening tag of an element. So an example of an attribute is this Href, or the A tags. Okay. It's combined to the anchor tag on this example. There are two parts of an attribute. The name of an attribute, which in this example is href, and the value of an attribute, which in this example is hawking.edu. The URL is a uniform resource locator, which is everything you're accustomed to seeing right here. That's not a good example. This is a URL. And let's see. And all we see is the hawking.edu, which is pretty normal for most browsers. But if you click on it, you can see the full URL. It's hypertext transfer protocol. I'm blanking on it. HTTPS means it's secured. It has a colon, has 2 forward slashes, has www.hawking.edu. So that is the URL. It's a web address. Okay. The metadata is information about the web page. It's not displayed directly on the web page. It's so if you go in here or in the head, and this is kind of considered best practices. I don't really remember what it stands for. It's just something that you put in there. Other kind of metadata has the meta tags, and this is for responsive web design. And this is just something that is thankfully just kind of automatically inputted whenever we did the shortcut here. But it's something used for responsive web design. So when you go on a smaller size screen, like a mobile device, it'll automatically adjust. Let's see. So images can be added to a web page using the image tag. Image tag requires a source, which is an attribute, to tell the browser where to get the image from. So if it's going to be a local image or if it's going to be URL. So let's do this one here. It's going down a couple. And let's go to Hawking's webpage, and you'll see on the logo on the left-hand side, if you right-click on it, you'll see a copy image address. And just so you can see what's going to happen, I'll open up a new tab, as you can see, and I hit Control-V to paste it. And it should just take me into the image, which there it is. And you can see it's a PNG file. Okay. So that's what we're going to embed into our web page. To do this, we're doing the image tag, open it up. As our instruction said, we need the source attribute. And we're going to go ahead, the source equals, the source is the name of the attribute, because remember there's two components of an attribute. There's the source and the value. The value is going to be this right here. Hold on. Okay, I'm trying to word wrap. There we go. Okay. You can word wrap and VS Code, I think, in Alt-Z. Or you can go into here, wherever it's at. Oh, there it is. Under View, toggle word wrap, or the shortcut is Alt-Z. Okay, so then it needs the closing tag, right? And that's it. That's it for this right here. So we're going to go ahead and save it. Go back to our web page and refresh. Okay, and we see our logo. And it's still in line with this, even though this is like on top of each other. Let's go ahead and break that up a little bit. To add a line break, this is one of those weird tags where there's no closing tag. All you need to do is the less than symbol, BR for break, and then the closing portion of this, which is the greater than symbol. And so we're just going to apply that here on the individual line breaks that I want. So I saved it, maybe save, being slow. Okay. And if I hit refresh, okay, you can see that they're now on top of each other. And you can see that the logo is the same thing as we copied from here. Now the sizing is different, as you can see, and that's because they did some customizations on this logo here for this purpose. So we're going to do some customizations, not the same kind as them, but we're going to play with some of the customizations. We're going to play with some more attributes on this image. So another attribute that we can play with is width, which will, change the size, the width of the image. And once you can see that it automatically starts to recognize what we might want, you can just hit tab and it automatically put the equal sign and the two quotes. And I'm going to do something like 300 pixels, which is 300 px. And then after that closing quotes, I'm also going to do the height. And I just hit tab because the VS Code sees what I want. Hit tab. And then I'm going to do also 300 pixels, just to make it a square. I can do whatever I want. And then I'm going to hit save, which is Control S, and go back to my web page. And okay, and then you can see it's changed. Doesn't really look right, but you can see it's changed. So the height may be looks like the height is too tall for the width. So let's change that to 200. There we go. That looks a little bit better. So you can customize it for whatever you want. So one form that we use, as you can see, is pixels, but there are other, there are three that I use most. There's more than three, but I'm going to show you the three that I use most. Just be aware that there are more that you can use. Another one that you can use is 100% view width, which is VW. And I'm going to do the same thing here, 100% view height, which is VH. Makes sense, right? And let's see. Okay, so it's now 100% of the width and the height of this web page. Okay, you can do something smaller if you want it like 50. Okay, now if it looks like it's half of what we can see on the web page. And since it's the view height and the view width property, let's do Control-Shift-I, which opens up our console. And you can see that it's still about 50% of the width. The height's not so much. I think that's because I just don't have any content down there. I think that's pretty much why. But anyways, let's see what would happen if I see. This is where I go into rabbit holes, and just because you're curious and now you want to know why. This is a paragraph. Okay, so it's got bigger, but it doesn't read the extra white space. So just, it got a little bit bigger. Let's see. Okay. And this is how you learn. If you kind of get something you're curious about, you just go into a little bit in the rabbit hole, but don't go deep into it. And that's really sometimes difficult to do. Okay, so, but as I change the size of this, which is one of the tools that you can use with the Chrome developer tool thing, which is what this is right here, is you can change what it's going to be like based on, the kind of tool that somebody's using. Okay, and you can see it's getting smaller based on the screen size that I have there. So what I want you to do, let's see, what else do we got to do here? Best practices also includes alt attributes to be included with the image tag. And the reason you do alt is for accessibility reasons, which is becoming more and more of a requirement for people who may be visually impaired and then use a screen reader. Another reason is if your internet's not the greatest, which I think many of us are in that same boat. If you were in my class, the first HTML class, you saw have some frustrations. We all had some frustrations with Cengage and images not loading, and all you saw was the alt text. But that's, if a web page doesn't load an image, you can see the alt text. It aids with search engine optimization because browsers can't see an image. They use the alt text to determine what the image is. And it should be descriptive when possible. So if you have a group of 5 German Shepherd puppies, say you have a group of 5 German Shepherd puppies and not just the word puppies. So an example here is right here. Image source is kittens, JPEG. Alt is a group of calico kittens. So let's go ahead and create that here. So first I gotta find calico kittens. Go to images. Images. It's thinking. So, and how adorable. So I'm trying to find a group. So a group. Let's do a group. Okay, there's one. Oh, I like this one. Let's do this one. So I'm going to this image and I'm right clicking on it. Save image. Going to the folder that this is in. So I don't think I've said this already. I want everybody to create a folder for this particular class on their website or on their computer. I don't care where you store it, desktop, downloads, whatever. Just create a folder that's just for this class. So I'm going to save it as kittens.jpg. I'm going to rename it from whatever this whatever it is. Okay. So if we go into my folder structure here, you'll see that I have kittens, JPEG, evidently had a PNG as well. Oh, yeah. Of a kittens JPEG, and it's the same, right in the same hierarchy as the index file that we're playing with. So let's go ahead and go to, I want to get rid of this because that's when I kind of went down into the rabbit hole. And let's play with another way that we can do an image. So an image source equals, let's show this. So on the left-hand side, okay, I'm going to click open folder, and it's going to take me to that folder that I've been working on. I'm just trying to open up so you can see all the files. Now try open folder. It's thinking. Okay, it's done thinking. So after I open up, you can see all the files that I had in here. So you can see all of that in there. So what we're going to do is image source. And you'll notice that this body went to red, which is usually an indicator something's not right. And the only reason this is not right is because I left this open whenever I started looking for that. So image source, we don't have to do anything like indicating, like telling the browser what file to find it under or what folder, because it's all on the same level here. And It's thinking again. And it closed out by itself. Okay, I'm back. I honestly goodness probably do need to clean up my laptop. I probably have 2 more stuff that I need and need to do updates on VS Code. It's a good need to do thing. Anyways, images, kittens, JPEG. So all I need to do is open quotes and one of the nice things about VS Code is that it knows what I'm trying to do, kind of, sort of. So it gives me some options, which is basically just looks like everything that's in here. And I can just click on whatever one I'm wanting. And if I just go ahead and close the tag, maybe, and hit save, Control S, waiting for that white dot to go away. There we go. And go back to here, close this out, and hit refresh. We see kittens, right? But our browser doesn't know it's kittens. So one of the things that we can do, I'm not going to mess with the height on it. We're just going to leave it like that, but we're going to add the alt. Alt equals a group. So I don't know. Everybody has their own things on alt. Group of five calico kittens. You want to be descriptive as possible, okay? And it also depends on the use of what you're doing. Does calico really matter? Maybe, maybe not. It just depends on the use. Okay, so no changes here, right? So we'll say what happens. I'm just going to make an error in this link, or in this image file. So it's not going to show because it's not going to be able to find it. So I'm putting an extra character in that. The browser's not going to find it because there's no thing that looks like that. I just wanted to throw up an error. And an error looks like this. Looks like this little broken image symbol. If you were in my class and were on Cengage last semester, you saw that several times. And then you say basically the content of what we had as the alt, a group of 5 calico kittens. So if your user is using a screen reader to navigate your website, it's going to hear a group of 5 calico kittens. And what the alt can be, it should be based on the purpose of the website. And going with that, sometimes some things just don't need an alt, like a logo. A logo on the Hawking College website, with all the other stuff. Let's go back to the Hawking College website. With all the other stuff that's on here for a screen reader to read, it probably doesn't really need to read the logo, okay? It just depends upon the website, and what's going to make it more user-friendly. So let's go ahead and get rid of that one. And let's go ahead and add, so we did the width, view height. What was the other one that we did? We did pixels, and then, shoot, what was the other one? View width, view height. I don't remember, but there's several different ways that you can adjust the heights of it. We can go ahead and change the width to 200 pixels. We don't have to do anything to the height. So let's see what would happen. It didn't change much, so maybe that's already 200 pixels. Let's name it. Let's put it 700. Is it freezing on me? There we go. So, and it looks like it automatically adjusted the height as well, which I didn't know it would, but okay. So you can let it automatically adjust, or you can do your own specifications. Okay, I just did 200, need 200 pixels. And you can mix and match, actually. So let's do 200%. I think that might have been the other thing I was going to show. Okay, that didn't help. Let's do 200% view height. Still nothing. Okay, let's just do let's do 50. Okay, it's saved. Still nothing, which is odd. Let's change this to you can be able to mix and match. Let's do this to 1000 pixels. Okay. I thought you can mix and match. I'm almost positive you can mix and match, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Anyways, I'm still trying. Okay, maybe you can't mix and match. Thought you could, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so we're going to go with you cannot mix and match. Could have sworn you could, but evidently not. All right, so we get some images there. Let's go on to the rest of this. So, and like, so one thing you'll note when either way, whether you want to do Alt Z, so it wraps. Either way, whether you're doing a URL or through a local file, like right here, you'll notice like there's no closing image tag. Like there is none of this. Okay, there's none of that. It doesn't exist. Okay. Videos, I don't remember if we got into videos the last class or not, but they're very similar to images. And you'll notice that a lot of these tags and these elements, it's a very similar concept for them all, just like different little nuances, but the structure is fairly similar across them all. So let's go ahead and do a video tag. So let's do video, and then it needs a source, and source. There we go. And so let's find a video. I want to pause this while I find a video. Okay, so I found a video. You can see it's right here. So we can do video source example video.m. There we go, MP4. And if I close that tag, I'd automatically, when I say close, I mean the greater than caret symbol. But it automatically, the video tag does have the closing tag. It automatically applies that. So let's go ahead and hit save and see what it looks like right now. Well, it did something because this appeared. Oh, this is the video. Okay. This is something that I was doing on Notepad. Can't really see it. You can see it more whenever we play with the sizing of it. Okay, but this is the beginning screen of the video. Probably not the best example, but you get the idea. But this is a video. And one thing you'll notice is it's a video. It is embedded in there, but there's no controls. That's something that we are going to have to add manually. So example video, and let's see. Let's go ahead and add the controls, which is done by adding the word controls. It's before the greater than or less than symbol. So greater than symbol, sorry. Yeah. And hit save that and hit refresh this. You'll see some controls now appear on the bottom. Okay. And you can see that this is going to be a video. of something. It's progressing. I forgot what this video was, but you can see it's progressing in the time. Okay. So, okay. So the audio is off because I have mine off. But internet required, right? So the other hello. So I was talking with my sister the other day about. Okay, so you can see the video. It started, just didn't see anything because I spent a few minutes talking first. Okay, so we have a video embedded using MP4, which is basically a video that you downloaded and then we upload it in here. And we can actually play with the width of that and the height as we do with the images. So let's do that. Width equals, say, 200 pixels. And then height, height equals, let's do it, 300 pixels. And then, there we go. Okay. So the reason this was down here in the beginning, even without the break, is because of the size. Okay, there wasn't enough room on this for it to be like next to here, like everything else was. It could only go down here because of the size of it. But when I made it 200 by 300, then obviously you can see I changed that. Still think you can mix and match these. Hello. So I was talking with my sister the other day about how. This is still me going down a rabbit hole. What happens if I had a break here? There we go. Still right there. Okay, I'm done playing with it. Still think you can, but evidently I may be wrong. Let's do the view width. Okay. But this is interesting to see. So I did 200% view width, and obviously the most one view width could be is 100%. And I did double that. So what's the browser going to do? So you can see that it's the video because it has the start of the video. But if you look down here, you'll see the scroll bar, the horizontal scroll bar. It's now, I have to scroll, it's only halfway. That's because I did 200. So if I did something like 150 and save it. And the scroll bar is a little bit bigger because it doesn't have to scroll so far to see the end. So unless you have a really good reason, like a really good reason, if you're going to do view width, I'd recommend at the most of 90%. And that's just to give it a little bit of breathing room on the sides. Save, just being slow here. There we go. Because that's just to give a little bit of breathing room. Okay. So that's how you add a video. Another way you can add a video, and I'm sure you probably, have seen several people do this over and over. This is one way you can do it, which is uploading from an MP4. But YouTube is another way you can add a video using their iframe. So iframe is an HTML element. Let's do one about ramen noodles. So to do that is you click share and you go to embed and it's an iframe. Like I said, iframe is an HTML element, and it can it's really easy just to include this into your web page. So all you have to do is hit copy. You can customize if you wanted to start at a different point. I'm not. Hit copy, and you literally just.
I'm Bianca, and I'm a level 1.
Okay, just paste it in there, and then save it, and go ahead and close this out. And close this out. This is the web page. Where'd it go? There we go. So you can see it's down there on the bottom. And these are the custom attributes within the iframe, which is, as you saw, just copied from YouTube. We can play with this if we want it to be different. Say I wanted this to be 1560 by 1315. It's got the source of YouTube, yada yada. The frame border is 0, allowed. I don't really know what that means. I mean, I assume it's something to do with accelerating. Allow an autoplay, which it did because it started on its own. Allow encrypted media, maybe closed caption. Not sure what that means. Don't know what any of the stuff means either, but that's okay. And allow full screen, and it closes with iframe element. So I changed that to the sizes of the width and the height. So let's see what it looks like now. There we go. Okay. Obviously not the ideal size for this screen, so that's just something to be aware of. Let's see. I just want to take out those ones. Hit play or hit save, refresh it. I thought it autoplayed. Looks like it doesn't. But anyways, let's see what else we can do here. Frame border, it's got 0. We do 9. Does it do anything? Right now I'm just playing. It's waiting for you to, nothing that I can really see. Okay, that's fine. But those are the attributes, and most of the time you probably won't mess with any of that at all. You'll just, let YouTube do its thing. They're smart. They know what they're doing, and let it be. Okay. So let's go back to here. So what I wanted you to do for this one is just to make a video tag. So just like we did right here, it can be from a local source, and just high handwrite it. And again, I don't want you to go through the process and the techniques of what handwriting can do for your code. And then, or you can do something. I don't want you to do this for your homework. I want you to do something like this. Okay. Let's see. So hyperlinks. Yeah. And make sure you do the controls and the width and the height when you do this. So hyperlinks. So hyperlinks is kind of what makes the web, the thing that we love. It's an easy way to access other web pages or resources. And we already played with hyperlinks earlier with Href whenever we went to hawking.edu's and what was not hawking.edu. So here in this particular assignment, I just want you to create, let's see, I think I got ahead of myself. So links can be a text or an image. So let's play with an image. I'm gonna get rid of this just to kind of clear up some of the stuff. Okay, so I save it and it should all be gone except for a few things. There we go. So we're going to use an image as a hyperlink. maybe. Okay, I went to the cat site. Seems good enough for this particular experiment here. So we're going to do a link, a hyperlink with an image. So let's go ahead and put our hyperlink or anchor tag in there first. So let's do the less than symbol A, and then we are doing the href. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I had to think for a second. Href, and then I'm pasting the URL from the cat site, and then I'm closing this. Okay. So far it's very similar to what we have up here. The only difference is I could say something like cat site. Okay. And that will work just fine. Refresh. Get rid of this image. Hit refresh. Hit refresh. Didn't save. Save, Samuel. Save. Okay. Hit refresh. There we go. Let's make this at 100%, shall we? Or 125 or 100. So we see cat site, and that would work just fine. Go ahead and close this cat site and open up this cat site. And this page, right, well, it's instead of saying Hawking College Bookstores, now I'm going to say cat site, the cat site. Okay. So it worked. Just there you go. And I'm backing it up. So instead of saying the cat site, we wanted to say something else. So let's click on, let's add a paragraph. We want it to look different. So let's go and do a paragraph with the P tag. Let's see, click on the image below to go to the cat site. Not Kate, cat site. Okay. And we are going to have this as an image instead of the words cat site. So to do that, it's just like we did before. It's the less than symbol, img, src, image source equals. Okay. Quotes. And I want to do this kittens JPEG again. kittens dot jpg. And it's already got the closing quotes. And then I'm going to close it. I'm going to save it. So the anchor tag's at the end. Here's the beginning of the anchor tag. It's going to go to a website called the cat site. And what we're going to click on, what's going to see as a clickable thing is this image here, if I did this right. And I didn't. Image, oh, typo. Okay. Here we go. And if I click on it, it'll take me to the cat site. Yep, okay. So for your practice here, for the assignment on this, I want you to use an image, just like I did here. Okay. You don't need to do this part. Okay, don't need to do that part. Just this part right here. So, so another thing that you can do is you can link to another section on the same page using a target and an ID. So the ID should be descriptive, and the target link should contain the hashtag symbol and the target element's ID. So here's an example of it. We're going to do a paragraph ID is going to open up a paragraph and has an ID of top. And it's going to say this is the top of the page. And the way somebody would access that is they would click on this and it says top, and it would automatically, it's got this hashtag and it says top. So like you see right here, hashtag and the ID, which was top. So let's go ahead and practice that a little bit. So let's do a P. We're going to do a paragraph ID equals top. This is the top of the page. And let's see. Yeah. And then we're going to do a PID equals bottom. This is the bottom of the page. Okay. And just to actually, so you can see it move, we want to take all of this content that we've been playing with here, all of that, cut it, which is Control X, and paste it, which is Control V. There, just so that you can see there's some space in between. Hit Control S to save it. Okay, so you can see this is the top of the page and this is the bottom of the page. Okay, so we're going to finish this. So that's what this was right here, the IDs. So now we're wanting to like navigate, say we're wanting to navigate on the same page, and we want to go to the top of the page and we want to go to the bottom of the page. So, and we're going to do that by putting these target links in there. Okay. So let's go ahead and give to here, back to VS Code. And okay, so we're going to do an ordered list, and we are going to do the list, individual list items, and we are going to, oh yeah, we're doing the anchor tag Href, just like we did the other things. And we're going to do the hashtag top, and we're going to close that, and it says go to top of page, something like that. That works. And I don't know if the order of this makes a huge difference. I'm going to leave it as is and see what happens. And we're going to do the same thing here. Href equals, I forgot that. Hashtag bottom. Go to bottom of the page and save that. So let's see if this works. Okay, so we see our hyperlinks. We can tell they're hyperlinks because just like we usually tell things are hyperlinks, blue, and it's got an underline underneath it. So if I go to the top of the page, it moved a little bit. It took me to the top of the page. If I go to the bottom of the page, you can see obviously it did move. It takes me to the bottom of the page. So those links are working. And just to kind of go over those again, I'm going to hide this. That's not going to let me. Sometimes there'd be a little thing that'll let you hide it and compress it, but it's not going to let me. So just going to go off this as an example so you can see. Using this as an example, the bottom one, because they're right within the view, you can see it. So we have a PID, the ID is bottom, okay? So what that's doing is it's calling, this is the ID, the unique identifier, whatever you need to kind of think of it as, of bottom. And what we're wanting in these lists, the reason that it goes to where it says bottom is because we're using the syntax, the symbol of the hashtag and the name of this. And then it'll go to wherever we say want it to go to. We could do this elsewhere. So I want to cut that and say we want it here for the ohio.edu one. And we could do, trying to think. Let's see if that works. Make sure it's saved. Okay, it's saved. Hit refresh and say go to the bottom of the page. Okay, it went to this one, which is the second one, which is the ohio.edu one. So it can see that it takes me like the starting point of wherever I put the word, the little unique identifier, and that in this case was bottom. Let's see. So we can. So that's one of the things I want you to handwrite. I want you to practice writing something with a reference like this. What did I do? I don't want to draw. Okay. The idea originally was to print these out and hand them to you guys. Obviously, that's not going to work unless you have a printer at home. And they keep getting messed up, so it wasn't going to be the greatest thing unless I manually did it all myself anyways. But if you, on a regular piece of paper, just take a picture of it and upload it. I just want to see you go through the practice of handwriting it. Okay, and here's a list of HTML tags that you can find on, a whole lot of resources. I just kind of made this list. And I'm going to stop right here. This was probably longer than it needed to be as a review of HTML. That's something I'm going to have to figure out, make sure I don't get too much about this. But this video is probably longer than it needed to be about HTML. But this is what I want you to do for HTML. And in another video, we're going to go over CSS, and then you'll see, you'll start seeing for your HTML only class, only for the HTML class, something called tilt. And I'll go over that. It's something I'm doing differently just to try to improve as a teacher for you guys. So we'll go over that in a different video. And if you have any questions on this, let me know. Thank you.